actually my next question,
Yeah.
right? Like, why did you start MOA, and why are you the right person to fix a problem for this niche?
Let me ask the second question first. So the thing is,
Yeah.
if you were to say, do I love Jocko Willink and his information on leadership? Jocko Willink is another person I would love to get on his show. Incredibly, I look up to him very much. Goggins also. But Jocko Willink more for leadership, Goggins more for obsession and determination, motivation. So Willink is my favorite because Willink, he takes understanding from his time with the SEAL teams and he brings it into business.
Yeah.
Cannot recommend him enough. Two of the greatest books I've ever read on leadership. Another great book I read on leadership is Gates of Fire. It's required reading in the U.S. Marine Corps, and it has to do with King Leonidas and King Xerxes. The Battle of Thermopylae, 483 BC. And it talks about how Leonidas, if something needed to get done, King Leonidas would go and do it himself. He led from the front, and King Xerxes led from the rear, and how those two things are different. Marines lead from the front. I'm an Air Force officer. We lead from the front too, but it's different because we're flying airplanes. Yeah. So the leadership study, so just take this whole leadership study. It's not super sexy. The get money part of self-help is way more lucrative than this part. Tony Robbins doesn't do a lot of the leadership stuff. This is more of a Jocko Willink space. So it's a narrow space. And I'm in this, I would consider myself in the teach leadership space. Now, does Jocko Willink have a dating course?
No.
He does not. What if Jocko Willink had a dating course? What would it look like?
Something very similar to MOA.
Yes, it would look like an MOA.
Yeah.
Now,
Except we'll be doing a lot more burpees, I think.
Yeah, we do. Exactly. Now, I want you to consider hardcore pickup guys, right? Their courses, right? When they were doing the stuff that they were doing, a lot of it got really out of hand, creepy, somewhat misogynistic. I agree that it was misogynistic. Way too much shit, right? Also, they made 3 massive mistakes. I've mentioned this before. They don't teach you to be friends with women. Being friends with women is the greatest way to meet women. If you don't believe me, stop what you're doing. Talk to the 5 most attractive women you know. Forget about whether or not they have boyfriends or not. Ask them about the last 5 guys they've had sex with. So that should be 25 data points right there. And what you're going to get is 20 of the 25 data points are going to be, I met him through a female friend, and the last 5 are going to be Instagram. I'm telling you right now, the hottest women you've ever seen, the guys they date, they're introduced to them by other women. This is a fact. In the 80 percentile, that's about how often it is. So pickup got 3 things wrong. Number 1, they didn't teach men to be friends with women. Number 2, they don't teach logistics at all. If you live in your mom's basement, they're like, well, then just get better at game and just bring girls to your mom's basement. Logistics are everything. And number 3, they were way behind the curve on social media. I can show you some of the best pickup coaches in the world, or most lucrative pickup coaches in the world, and their social media is garbage. So those 3 things they messed up on, right? So now let's just take that here's how we get women, relationships, okay? Do they teach leadership?
No.
If they taught leadership, what would it look like?
It would look a lot like MOA.
Yeah, correct. So I found this void in the middle where it's like pickup was trying to teach men how to talk so you looked high status.
Yeah.
Leadership was men who were very high status, but were only concerned with like being leaders and not learning how to network. And then let's take the third component, which is Dan Fleischman. Dan Fleischman, up until recently, didn't really have a program that he taught.
Yeah.
If Dan Fleischman, if I was going to say what the E is, I can't think of anyone more connected than him. Like seriously, like he is talking like presidential chief of staff level of connected. This guy is incredibly connected. Yeah. Just like Young Jeezy says, I'm your favorite rapper's favorite rapper. Dan Fleischman is your favorite influencer's favorite influencer. Yeah. Okay. Dan Fleischman is the most connected dude, but he doesn't teach a course on what he does. And and I'm sure he will at some point, but like, if you look at it, what does he do? I'm going to connect these people.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to do favors for all of them and ask for nothing in return.
Yeah.
Jocko doesn't teach that. The pickup guys don't teach that.
No.
Dan doesn't teach leadership, and Dan doesn't really teach dating. What if there was a course that taught how to be good with women, how to network, and leadership?
Yeah.
That's what MOA is. I don't have any competitors. I really don't have any competitors. I just found these 3 places where I was elite at. I would say us without using money or celebrity. Me and the guys in MOA are better at getting large groups of women to come to events than anyone
100%.
in the world. Let me say it again. Without using money and without using celebrity. None of us are celebrities and none of us spend money on to do this. We're better at getting 100 girls to show up to a party, 300 girls to show up to a party, going to a party where it's 7 girls to every guy. We're better at teaching this and creating this than anyone in the world. And instead of pretending to talk like the men that these women would be attracted to were actually those men. That's the leadership component. And we want to use, one of the ways I like to describe MOA is I want to be the guy that you get your job through, the guy that you meet your girlfriend through, the guy you meet your mentors through, the guy you come to when you want a book recommendation, the guy you come to when you want a restaurant recommendation, the guy you come to when you want a vacation recommendation, the guy you come to when you want to, get a new sponsor for your company, the guy you come to when you want a new vendor. When I say vendor, I mean like W9, like a guy to do your video recording or your clips channel. I want to be the guy you all come to for that, and every guy in my program becomes that hub in the wheel of his network. That's what I teach in my program. So that's what makes it so unique. And in doing so, Grant, one of my partners, he talks to me about it all this time. It's like we have what's called a blue ocean because we don't have competitors. There's no one who competes. I'm specific. I know I've said the word dating several times. This is not a dating course. So specifically, I don't compete with those guys. I don't compete with pickup artists. And I don't compete with Jocko Willink because what Jocko is doing very different. He's doing like C-suite level, executive level coaching for leadership studies, right? And Dan Fleischman doesn't do exactly. Dan Fleischman, where we cross over is the charity events and the networking. And so the three of those things put together, that's what my course is. And because no one does those three things, we have a blue ocean, meaning we don't have any competition. At some point we will. I can see a couple of guys trying to get into this space that I've created. But the problem is the guys that I see trying to get into it, they're all PUAs. And that's bad because this is not the right space for them.
So you just have one of the three.
They're coming, but they're coming from the wrong place. It would, again, the best example would be if Jocko Willink taught a dating course. That's what it would look like, right?